Hi, it's Nicole with Bella Blvd today and a fun mix of the Meow and Bow Wow collection. To get started, I am using this free sketch from Scrapbook Cards Today Magazine. I love their sketches. I love the fact that they are free. I can show them in videos. This one is geared for an 8.5 by 11 layout. However, I'm going to modify it to be a 12 by 12 layout and be able to include an additional. Now, with the prompt of being to mix the cat line and the dog line, I knew that I was going to be okay. I personally love mixing and matching from different collections, especially because the majority of Bella Blvd's pattern papers tend to have a really good B-side. So if the A side is really, really busy, typically the back side has like a really good solid B side. So at first I thought that I was going to use one of like the A sides down below. I ended up kind of changing that just based off of what was going on with embellishments and stuff. So what I did was I pulled out Meow and kind of started going through it, kind of getting a game plan, settled on this white and gray fishbone skeleton kind of pattern paper here. I am going to apologize if my audio starts getting weird. The subject of this layout has arrived. Apparently she needs attention and she scares me, so we're just going to let her sit in front of the microphone with me and see how this goes. But I knew that I really wanted to use a pattern paper for a base, and I felt like the gray fishbone one was just subtle enough that, you know, it's going to read as a really good pattern paper, but still kind of be soft enough that anything that I put on top of it is still going to work, if that makes sense. And then this is, the photos are from a couple weeks after we adopted her. Her name is Gabby. I'm so sorry, guys. I've never had to do a voiceover with her sitting here, so this is kind of funny. These were some photos that I took a couple weeks after we got her. She was full on in exploration mode, and ever since then she still comes into my craft room. Her little like nap basket is in here. Typically she leaves when I start a voiceover, so I'm not sure what's going on today. Maybe she senses that I'm talking about her, who knows. So once I've picked my like background paper, I've got, I believe the dark pink and the light pink are both from Meow, and then I think the purple I'm going to pull in might have been from Bow Wow. Basically, I looked through and had like a focus when I was pulling stuff on more feminine colors, more feminine types of patterns. I kept looking at that multicolored floral, and I was debating about that one. Oh, the light pink is from Bow Wow. So I think the light pink and the purple are both from Bow Wow. But this is one of the reasons why Bella Blvd has kind of always been a favorite brand for me, is because they sort of stick to this core color palette. And every collection, you know that there's going to be the separate pack of B-sides, but also, like I said before, the back of some of these more busy pattern papers are going to have those B-sides, and they're all going to be from, you know, their core set of colors. I'm not really sure how many there are, but I know that like this dark pink will match the same dark pink that is used in like Caitlin or I can't think of like the Valentine's Day one. Basically anytime they use like a dark pink, it's going to be the same dark pink. So that's why I love being able to mix and match. So a lot of times I'll take like a busy pattern paper from a specific theme, and then when I start pulling in B-sides, I don't really care what collection those B-sides come from. I'm looking at color and kind of the size of the pattern, if that makes sense. Now, to mimic those wavy lines that were in the sketch, I pulled out these really old Kiwi Lane templates. I think I've used them on 2 or 3 layouts for some reason this summer. They're just coming in really handy for these sketches that have these really fun, like wavy things. I'm somebody that I just don't enjoy freehand drawing those types of things. And I also am a little bit lazy in the sense that I don't really want to pull out my silhouette just to cut a wavy line. So I pull out these templates. It's one of the reasons why I've never purged them. They just work really well for stuff like this. I don't know that I've ever used them in the traditional sense of like what they show, but they've been getting some use this summer. So I did like a double layer here with the light pink and the dark pink. I'm going to go ahead and cut those straight to butt them up to the top edge of my layout here. And like I said, I love the majority of the sketches that show up for free on SCT's website. Like, they're always depicted in the magazine, and then they'll have like a couple examples, and then either through like the digital flip through, you can click on a link to get there, or you can just go to their site and get to their sketches. But I don't know, I feel like I get on these tangents where I like to use the same things for a little bit until something else catches my eye. But I think B-sides will always have my heart. Mixing and matching collections will always have my heart. So I'm hoping that anytime there's a mix and match type of challenge that I get that assignment. Then again, I am enjoying some of the different assignments that I've had while being on the team here. I think it's kind of nice to have a little bit of like a focus of like, hey, here's a challenge of pairing, you know, these two separate collections together, or a focus on like a specific embellishment style, something like that. I think is just a fun challenge within, you know, just having fun playing with a new collection. So from here, I'm going to get started putting down my photos. I have not cut this bottom layer yet because I wasn't 100% sure on photo placement and like size of this layer. I'm also going to modify like the curved edge here in a little bit. I didn't have one that I felt like looked super similar to the one that was on the sketch, and like I said, I really didn't want to freehand it, so I found one that was similar enough, checked my photos to make sure that they were sized correctly to kind of fit within the curve of what I thought I was going to cut this into. It does have this little like divot. It's kind of hard to see in the video here between the two smaller photos. There's like a little detailed like divot. What I'm going to do when I go to trace this is freehand like that little part and just kind of smooth out that bump. Before I do that though, I did go ahead and place my journaling above the photos here. I already had it done and ready to go. This is that purple paper from Bow Wow that I'm going to go ahead and pull out. I do really like that with both Meow and Bow Wow, there's a lot of like colorways that you can kind of go to lean towards either a female pet or a male pet. The fact that the multicolor ones mix those two kind of vibes together. So if you have, you know, a boy dog and a girl dog, you can mix them together. So like at some point I'm gonna probably pull some photos the next time I pull out Bow Wow to do some photos of when we had two dogs, because I had one boy and one girl. So I've got this bottom wave done, and I'm not going to go ahead and stitch along the edge of this one. I did draw a pencil line. You might be able to see it. I thought I was going to go ahead and stitch it and kind of have part of it peeking out. I was worried that I was going to end up spending all that time stitching it and then covering the entire thing. So I just decided, you know what, let's work on this fun, like embellished border. And if I have any large gaps, I can come in and just add the stitching in those places and go from there. I pulled out the die cut pack here, and I'm just doing a quick sort. I like to pull out like a little tray here and just kind of dig through and look and see, you know, what's in here, and pull out things that on this first kind of look through catch my eye as far as size, shape, color, and theme. I wanted the border to be a lot of like bright rainbow colors of the florals, and then tuck in some different elements that are more specific to the theme. So in this instance, the cat theme. So I'm pulling out a lot of those florals, the little like yarn toys, the fish bones. There was some paw prints, that kind of stuff. I also went ahead and grabbed, there was some like medium and some tiny little hearts. I'm going to go ahead and set those aside as well. And then I do go through and pull some out of the Bow Wow version of this die cut pack as well, because I remembered that there was more florals in that one too. I did go ahead and grab the puffy stickers to pull out for coming in towards the end. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started on figuring out my title as well. I want to at least know what that title is gonna be and how much space it's gonna take up before I really get going on building that like embellished border, because I don't really want to kind of paint myself into a corner in a sense. So I took probably longer than I needed to. I think my problem was I didn't know what I wanted my title to be, and there was no way to kind of get some random thought in my head to, show up in the phrases. So I kind of worked backwards and just looked through the phrases to try to figure out, what will work for this. It doesn't need to be specific to my theme of her exploring my craft room. I just kind of want something big, bright, and kind of touches on the fact that she was still so young here. So I pulled the sweet phrase from the chipboard. The kitten phrase is from the like sentiment die cut pack, and they're not glued down here. I don't think they are. They might be. I wanted to just kind of make sure sizing wise. And then I just kind of started on the outer edges with some of those florals, and not really a rhyme or reason to how I fill this in. I just start playing around. I put some stuff flat, I pop up some layers are popped, some are flat is what I'm trying to say. And I'm kind of just looking for different colors and different shapes and focusing on hiding that edge in a sense and following the curved edge as I go along. And I do want some of it to kind of come up over onto like the white background paper. Oh, good. I wasn't sure if I was going to make you guys watch that whole thing. So this is after I have come in and filled in that edge. I did grab the puffy stickers. I just felt like the florals on this were too good to not use. And I am very big on the last few years. I've learned to kind of lean away from it's too pretty to use and focus more on it's so pretty I have to use it. So don't hoard the pretties, get them on the page so that you can enjoy them and they're not just kind of sitting in your stash. So sometimes I will focus on my favorites first and get them used. I did pull off some little tiny hearts from the 12 by 12 sticker sheet. This sticker sheet had a lot of really good like phrases and different size things that I could have pulled in. I kind of set it to the side and forgot about it. And by this point, my little border was pretty full. So I just took those little tiny hearts to kind of, bring in some more color, fill in any like little open gaps and kind of go from there. I did feel like my title was a little, I don't want to say unfinished, but I just was like, is there anything I can find to put underneath here? And I'm going to go ahead and add this phrase, and it doesn't need to read as a complete title. It's just interesting, it's fun, it's pretty. And then at this point, I was still like, it needs something. So I looked at it and I was like, I have stitching at the top. I don't have any stitching at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a straight line of stitching at the bottom. I cover this a lot in my videos. Everybody kind of has their own way of hand stitching or like the way that they like to do it. I prefer to draw a pencil line and then freehand my holes. I also prefer, I think, a smaller needle than a lot of people use, and then I use one strand of floss folded in half, secured with a loop method, and then just a basic back stitch. So I just went ahead and did that stitching off camera, and here you can see the final result. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're inspired to mix and match some of the collections that you may have in your stash, and you know, just play, have fun with the embellishments. And if you guys liked this video, give me a thumbs up. If you have yet to subscribe, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and hopefully one of these suggestions will also inspire you. And I thank you for spending some time with me today.